welcome back to the channel. This is another video in the series about cornering on the bike. Can't remember how many I've done now. Is this 3 or 4? Not sure. Put it in the title. But in this video I'm going to look at how to apply the throttle on the bike into, through and out of the corner. And this is something I see quite a lot of riders getting wrong, even when they've turned up for advanced bike test. And it can be a little bit counterintuitive, only a little bit. It's not that difficult to get your head around, but it requires a change in what you might normally do with the throttle through a corner. And it's this little principle of keeping a bit of gas on, just a bit, trying to maintain a steady speed through the corner until you start standing the bike up again and then winding the gas on. So we talked in the last video about speed assessment for corners. It's easier to put speed on through the corner than take it off through the corner. Ideally, we don't want the bike decelerating through corners. If the bike's decelerating through a corner, the weight is transferring forward onto the front wheel, getting some compression of the front suspension. The rear is going a little bit light, and the result is a bike that feels really unstable through the corner. I need to make it clear right from the start, what I'm not talking about is accelerating really hard through the corner, piling a lot of speed on through the corner. You want to save the genuine acceleration for the point at which you start to stand the bike up again. The point at which you leave in the corner is when you'll be winding the gas on and really accelerating out of the corner. But what we want to do, and system sets you up for this by requiring you to do things in the right order on the approach to the corner. So position, speed and gear on approach to the corner. Now think about that. We've already set the speed on the approach to the corner. We've gone position, speed and gear. We're not going to do anything else that's going to lose speed on the approach to the corner. If we've assessed that corner properly, we've used the limit point, other methods of assessing the speed for the corner, we don't want to lose any more speed. But if you tip the bike into the corner, you're increasing the frictional resistance with the tyres. And if you don't do anything with the gas, if you don't do anything with the throttle, the bike will slow down, the bike will decelerate. So if we're applying system correctly on the approach to a corner, we're going to get our position, near side for a right-hander, offside for a left-hander. Go and look at the positioning video for corners. Explain it in a lot more detail there. So position on approach, we're going to get our speed right, either by deceleration or by braking if we need it. We're going to take an appropriate gear if we need it, something flexible that's going to take us all the way through the corner with the right amount of acceleration. And then we're going to steer the bike into the corner. Now we'll look at steering and counter steering in another video. But what we're aiming to do as we tip the bike in, as we counter steer the bike into the corner, is just apply a small amount of throttle, almost what I would call a neutral throttle. So that isn't a closed throttle, and it isn't an opening throttle. It is a neutral throttle, and I've got a neutral throttle on now. I'm doing 30 in third gear, and I'm just maintaining enough throttle to keep the bike at 30. If I was to lean the bike over, I'd just need an extra little squeeze just to keep it at 30. So I'm using the term neutral throttle. That is not a closed throttle, that is a neutral throttle, just enough to maintain the speed that we're doing. And as the forces build up in the corner, depending on how far you're leaning the bike into the corner, how much you're relying on the grip of the tyres, as those forces build up, we want to apply just a little bit more gas, and it is just a small amount of throttle just to counteract the bike's tendency to slow down. So just a gentle squeeze rolling on the gas. Once you're in the corner and you've got the bike settled, then we're going to maintain that positive application of throttle to keep the bike settled in the corner, to keep the rear suspension compressed and to make best use of both tyres. That's the idea of this. We want to balance that cornering across both tyres. Remember how big and wide a lot of bikes' rear tyres are? We want to take advantage of that just by squeezing on the gas gently through the corner. Then when we get to a point where the limit point is moving away from us, that third movement of the limit point, the corner is opening up, that's the point at which we can start to roll the gas on a bit more, start to accelerate the bike. As you're straightening up out of the corner, the bike will naturally stand up, and the more upright it is, the easier it is just to wind that acceleration on. So that's the explanation of what we're looking to do. Let's see, I'm still down in the Peak District, some roads that I don't really know very well. Let's apply that principle. Neutral throttle on the way into the corner, maintaining a little bit of acceleration to keep the speed where it is as we go through the corner, and then accelerating out of the corner. People use the term slow in and quick out. If that works for you, fine. It's not a bad way of thinking about it. Take the speed off on the way in, build the speed up very gently at the start of the corner, and then build it up as you leave the corner. In the car, I encourage people to get on the throttle a little bit harder, a little bit earlier, but the car has a different characteristic than the bike altogether. There are a lot more things happening on the bike when we're going through a corner. So let's try and find a little bit more open road, with a bit less traffic, where we can apply this principle of applying the throttle into, through and out of the corner. Alright, so we're on this little twisty road that leads through Edale in the Peak District. Bit of national speed limit coming up. Let's see if I can just demonstrate how to apply this principle of application of throttle through the corner. Little left-hander, little squeeze on the gas. Now you will hear the revs rise slightly. It doesn't mean necessarily that the bike is accelerating. That's just because the curved profile of the tyres mean that the diameter of the wheels actually get a little bit smaller as you tip the bike into the corner. That affects the gearing on the bike. It effectively lowers the gearing a little bit. And that's the other reason, that's the other thing we need to counteract with a little application of gas. So even if I am just maintaining speed as I roll the bike into these corners, the fact that those wheels are getting just a tiny bit smaller, the more I lean the bike over, means the bike is actually slowing down a little bit, even if I'm maintaining enough gas to keep the speed constant. So that's the other good reason why we want to maintain a little bit of positive acceleration through the corner. So, this left-hander. Position, speed and gear, all sorted, third gear's fine. As I tip the bike in, a little bit of gas. As the corner opens up, I can increase that and then roll off the gas again for the left-hander. It's like we're going under a bridge. So, near side, down a gear, roll it in and apply the gas. A little bit, and then a bit more as we come out of the corner. Not just rolling into the corner on a dead closed throttle. For this one, position, speed, down one gear, roll it in with a little bit of gas. Gas is on. Same for this one. And then you can hear the res rise as we ride out of the corner. It's a really small, straightforward change to your riding style, but I can't tell you what a difference it makes. It makes a fantastic change. It makes a fantastic difference. Really makes the bike feel a lot more stable in the corners. Now remember, you don't just use this in isolation, use it with all the other principles I'm showing you in these videos. Position on approach, position through the corner, speed assessment for the corners, and counter steering the bike into the corners. But just applying just a little bit of gas there. Slowing it down. This is a downhill run. So we're not going to apply as much gas going downhill. In fact, sometimes it's just coming off the brakes is enough to allow the bike to accelerate with gravity. So it's about allowing the bike just to maintain or pick a slight little bit of speed up. If you can achieve that just by coming off the brakes and letting gravity do it, you'll still get the bike in a nice balanced state through the corner. Right-hander, near side position, brakes, down to third gear, little bit of gas, just a tiny bit. You can hear, especially with this bike in dynamic mode, if I'm off the gas, it crackles and pops. So you can hear I've just got a little bit of positive throttle applied. All the way around that right-hander there, a little bit of positive acceleration, just a bit. It is just a bit on a bike because bikes accelerate really quickly, even with just a really small application of throttle, so you'll be very sensitive on that throttle. You know, 2 or 3 millimeters of throttle travel is another 10 miles an hour easily. For this one, the limit point's a good distance away here. Keeping some positive acceleration on, and we've got double bends coming up. So near side position on approach, first one's a right-hander. So there we go, that's the principle of how you should be applying the throttle into, through and out of corners. Like I said before, link it with all these other good principles of safe cornering. I spent a good few minutes in this video describing to you what you should do and why and what the reasons are. The first time you try this and you get it right, you'll notice that the bike just feels right. It just feels really good in the corner, and sometimes that's difficult to describe why it feels right. But next time you're out for a ride, just give it a go. Don't go silly on the throttle, just squeeze it, maintain your speed. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Give us a like and press the notifications button as well. You get an email every time I upload a new video. And go and have a look at the website as well, reglocal.com. Loads more information there about advanced and performance driving and riding, information about the books I've written, and how you can get a day's driver or rider coaching with me if you like. And give us a follow on Twitter at reglocal. But for now, thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time.